Hello and welcome to a new episode in our enchanting dream world. It's great that you've tuned in again. Make yourself comfortable, snuggle into your soft blanket and slowly close your eyes. Today, we're taking you into the mysterious enchanted forest, where a very special evening awaits. The animals of the forest are preparing for a big celebration, and a magical surprise awaits them. Are you ready to experience the adventures of Fox, Squirrel and their friends? Then let's dive in together and see what wonders the forest has in store for us today. Today's story is called The Magical Forest Ball. It was a peaceful late summer evening in the enchanted forest. The trees swayed gently in the wind, and the animals were preparing for a very special event, the Grand Forest Ball. Once a year, all the forest dwellers came together to celebrate, dance, and enjoy friendships. However, this year something very special was going to happen. As Professor Owl had announced a mysterious surprise. "What do you think the surprise could be?" asked the little fox Felix excitedly, hopping through the forest. Next to him, Sandy the nimble squirrel jumped from branch to branch. "Maybe he's bringing us a huge nut cake, right? Or maybe there will be fireworks made of shooting stars," Sandy exclaimed with anticipation. "Oh, Sandy, you and your nuts," laughed Felix. "But who knows? Professor Owl always comes up with something amazing." On their way to the big clearing, they met Bruno, the cozy bear, who was balancing a huge barrel of honey on his back. "Look, I'm bringing the best honey from the whole forest," rumbled Bruno contentedly, lightly panting under the weight. For the forest ball, it has to be something very special, of course. Felix and Sandy nodded in agreement. Honey was just as important to Bruno as nuts were to Sandy, and both loved to spoil their friends with treats. When they reached the pond, they found Emily the duck, busy arranging the water lilies neatly. "The ball will be wonderful. I have prepared everything," she quacked proudly and let the water glide gently through her feathers. "When the stars sparkle on the water, it will look magical here." Finally, the sun had disappeared behind the trees and the moon rose majestically in the sky. The animals gathered in the large clearing, eagerly awaiting Professor Owl. Then a loud hoot sounded, and everyone turned around. On the highest branch of the old oak sat the wise Professor Owl, looking kindly at the assembled forest dwellers. "Dear friends," he began with his deep voice, "today we are not only celebrating our annual forest ball, but the enchanted forest has given us a gift. Here on this clearing, he spread his wings. I have prepared something very special for you." The animals huddled closer to hear better. "This ball," explained Professor Owl, pointing to a sparkling, shimmering ball floating in the middle of the clearing, "is a wish ball. Each of you may make a wish, and the ball will fulfill it." The animals stared at the ball with wide eyes. A wish ball was something they had never experienced before. The excitement grew as they began to think about their own wishes. First, Tim the little hare stepped forward. He hopped excitedly to Professor Owl and spoke with a trembling voice. The ball began to glow gently, and a warm light filled the clearing. Suddenly, Tim felt an incredible energy in his legs. Without realizing it, he started to move and raced like lightning across the meadow. The other animals clapped enthusiastically as Tim dashed back and forth at lightning speed. "That was amazing!" shouted Felix, laughing, as Tim finally returned to them, still a little out of breath. Next, Sandy stepped forward. "I wish for a tree that is always full of nuts, no matter how many I eat," she said with bright eyes. The ball sparkled again, and before the amazed eyes of all the animals, a magnificent tree grew from the ground, covered with the most beautiful nuts. Sandy immediately jumped onto the tree and began examining the nuts closely. "Look, Felix, hazelnuts, walnuts, almonds, and they all taste so good," Sandy exclaimed excitedly. Now it was Bruno's turn. He stepped forward heavily and said in a deep voice, "I wish for a meadow full of honey flowers." The wish ball glowed brighter than before, and suddenly a vast golden meadow stretched out before the animals, covered with countless honey flowers. Bruno sniffed and grinned widely. "This is the sweetest honey I have ever smelled," he rumbled contentedly and took a big spoonful from the barrel. Now it was Felix's turn. He was the last to step forward, and the eyes of all the animals were on him. He thought for a moment before speaking. "I wish that we all remain friends forever and can celebrate together every year," he said with a smile. The ball glowed once more, but this time it was different. The light was warmer and enveloped the entire clearing. The animals felt a deep joy and connection with one another. Felix's wish had moved something in them that was much greater than any personal wish. Professor Owl nodded contentedly. "A very wise wish, Felix," he said. After all the animals had their wishes fulfilled, the actual ball began. They danced under the stars, sang songs, and enjoyed the treats they had brought. The clearing was filled with laughter and joyful voices, and the moon shone brightly upon them. When the party finally ended, the animals said their goodbyes and headed home. Felix and Sandy trotted back to their den, tired but happy. "This was the best forest ball I have ever been to," said Felix as he snuggled into his soft bed. "Yeah," murmured Sandy, who was already half asleep. "And next year will be just as great." With those words, they fell asleep as the gentle wind rustled through the trees and the stars twinkled above the enchanted forest. So that was our magical adventure in the enchanted forest for today. Maybe you also feel like having your own little adventures, whether in the garden, the forest, or on your next walk. Nature is full of secrets and wonderful surprises just waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed the story and want to hear more from our friends in the forest, then come back soon. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss any new adventures. Now I wish you a cozy night full of sweet dreams of shining stars, happy forest animals, and exciting forest adventures. Until next time, sleep well and sweet dreams.